Today, I want to talk to you about a very interesting and important topic, the fate of our North Star, Polaris. Polaris is the star that has been guiding travelers and explorers for centuries, as it is located almost directly above the Earth's North Pole. But did you know that Polaris is not a single star, but a triple star system? And did you know that Polaris is also a type of star that can explode at any time? In this video, I will explain to you the secrets of Polaris, and why it might be in danger of going supernova. Polaris, also known as the North Star, is the brightest star in the constellation Ursa Minor, or the Little Bear. It is about 430 light-years away from Earth, which means that the light we see from Polaris today left the star around the year 1590. Polaris is also a Cepheid variable star, which means that it changes its brightness periodically, due to the expansion and contraction of its outer layers. Cepheid variable stars are very useful for astronomers because they can use them to measure the distances of other objects in the universe by comparing their apparent brightness with their actual brightness. But Polaris is not a typical Cepheid variable star. It has a very unusual and unpredictable pattern of pulsation, which has puzzled astronomers for decades. The reason behind this strange behavior is that Polaris is not alone. It is actually part of a triple star system, consisting of Polaris A, Polaris B, and Polaris C. Polaris A is the main star that we see as Polaris, and it is about 6 times more massive and 2,000 times more luminous than the Sun. Polaris B is a smaller star, about 1.5 times more massive and 3.5 times more luminous than the Sun, and it orbits Polaris A at a distance of about 18.5 billion kilometers. Polaris C is the smallest and faintest star in the system. The presence of these two companion stars affects the pulsation of Polaris A by exerting gravitational forces on its outer layers. This causes the pulsation period of Polaris A to vary slightly every 30 years, which is the time it takes for Polaris B to complete one orbit around Polaris A. But this is not the only factor that influences the pulsation of Polaris A. There is also something else going on inside the star, something that could have catastrophic consequences for Polaris and for us. You see, Polaris A is a very old star, and it is nearing the end of its life. Like all stars, Polaris A was born from a cloud of gas and dust, and it started to produce energy by fusing hydrogen into helium in its core. This process kept the star stable and balanced for billions of years, as the outward pressure of the nuclear reactions counteracted the inward pull of gravity. But eventually, Polaris A ran out of hydrogen in its core, and it started to fuse helium into carbon and oxygen. This caused the star to expand and become a red giant, increasing its size and brightness. But this phase was also temporary, and soon Polaris A ran out of helium in its core, and it started to fuse carbon and oxygen into heavier elements, such as neon, magnesium, and silicon. This is where things get interesting and dangerous. You see, when a star like Polaris A reaches this stage of its evolution, it becomes very unstable and prone to explosions. This is because the fusion of heavier elements releases a lot of energy, which heats up the star and makes it pulsate rapidly. But this also makes the star lose a lot of mass, which weakens its gravity and makes it more vulnerable to external influences. And this is where the companion stars come into play. When Polaris B or Polaris C pass close to Polaris A, they can trigger a massive explosion in the star by disturbing its delicate balance of pressure and gravity. This explosion is called a supernova, and it is one of the most powerful and destructive events in the universe. A supernova is a colossal blast of light and matter that can outshine an entire galaxy for a brief moment. A supernova can release more energy in a few seconds than the Sun will produce in its entire lifetime. A supernova can also create and spread new elements, such as gold, silver, and uranium, that are essential for life and civilization. But a supernova can also have devastating effects, such as destroying nearby planets, creating black holes, or emitting deadly radiation. And this is what could happen to Polaris, and to us, if it goes supernova. Now you might be wondering, how likely is it that Polaris will go supernova? And when will it happen? Well, the answer is not very clear, because we don't have enough data to predict the exact fate of Polaris. But we can make some estimates, based on what we know about other stars like Polaris. According to some studies, Polaris A has a mass of about 6 solar masses, which is close to the minimum mass required for a star to go supernova. This means that Polaris A is on the edge of becoming a supernova, and it could happen at any time. But it could also take millions of years, depending on how fast Polaris A loses mass, and how strong the gravitational interactions with its companion stars are. So, we can't say for sure when Polaris will go supernova, but we can say that it is possible. This is the story of Polaris, the star that guides us, and that might explode. I hope you enjoyed this video, and learned something new and interesting. If you did, please give it a like, and share it with your friends and family. And if you want to see more videos like this, Please subscribe to CosmicHuntX, the channel where you can discover the secrets of the universe and the wonders of science.